My wife told me to shut my mouth in front of a bunch of people at a kid's birthday party. My wife and I are at odds lately over her sister-in-law, who is also her best friend, who is married to her brother. Long story short, she bends over backwards to accommodate their every ask, including babysitting, errands, etc. This extends to volunteering me to help them without my knowledge or consent, etc. She never sees my point of view or agrees with any criticism of them I have. We were at my nephew's birthday party today. My sister-in-law is the one who's hosting it, so my wife is super keen for things to go well. Things were going okay. My daughter, 3, was a bit upset because her balloon animal had accidentally been popped, so she's standing with my wife getting a cuddle, and a boy, older than her, 5 or 6, sprints into her and knocks her over. She's crying obviously, and I pick her up. My wife is making a joke of it, saying oh she needs to watch where she's going. I said back to her don't blame her for getting bowled over by the bigger boy. Now, apparently the mother of this other kid was in earshot, which prompted my wife to tell me, in front of one of her other best friends and a couple of other guests, to shut my mouth. Then she had the cheek to tell me to not have a moody face. 15 minutes before this post, I sent an email to a divorce lawyer for a consultation. I've finally reached my limit. Update, I spoke to my solicitor first thing this morning, and we had a good talk. He knows that I'm angry and upset at the situation, and he says that he will get myself and my wife in for a consultation if we decide to go down that route. The issue in Scotland is that for a divorce where only one party wants out, it can take upwards of a year to get it, and evidence of separation in that period, unless both parties agree to unreasonable behavior as the reason for the courts granting the divorce. Long story short, I can't proceed without her buy-in, if I want it resolved fast. So I took my daughter to my mum's after this, and then sat my wife down. I told her that yesterday's situation was absolutely unacceptable, and that if I had told her to shut her mouth in front of my friends, that I'd be getting crucified from everyone we know. I told her she was lucky I kept my mouth shut at the party, and that I didn't give an F about how sister-in-law would have taken it. We fought again about sister-in-law, and again, she defended her actions, saying that I'm the selfish one who won't help out my family when they need it. I then did the, perhaps petty, move of dropping divorce leaflets I'd printed from my solicitor's website in front of her. I said to her I absolutely want to help my family, and this is how I do it. I told her about how I was tired of playing third wheel in my own marriage, and I told her that I was not prepared to subject my daughter to a lifetime of this subservience. Finally, it looks like what I've said has had an impact. She cried and I think she was close to having a panic attack. This made me feel guilty, because fundamentally I don't think she's a bad person. She's just brainwashed into thinking sister-in-law is the second coming of the Messiah. So she promised that when I've finished work today we can have a serious talk about things, and she will listen to my concerns. Right now I'm not buying it, but I owe her and my daughter at least a chance to sort things out, so I'll see where it goes. To answer some questions folks had, I know this seemed like an overreaction to something, but you've got to understand this was the latest in a long line of sister-in-law related issues. Some folks have asked if my wife is gay and in love. I have thought about this as a possibility. I didn't ask her yet, but I may tonight. It certainly seems logical given how passionate she gets about it. Update 2. So we sat down last night for the crunch talks. I have to give her credit where it's due. She apologized for what she said at the party, and she said that she'd also have considered divorce if I'd done the same to her. I reiterated to her that my issue is that she completely makes herself subservient to sister-in-law at our expense. I pointed out how messed up it was that she didn't immediately take our daughter's side in this incident. The collision was accidental, I think, but I told her that to blame the little one was out of line, which she accepted. I then asked her outright if she had any sort of romantic feelings for sister-in-law. She squirmed and looked a little uncomfortable. She said that a long time ago at the end of high school there had been a drunken kiss on a night out, but nothing beyond that. She sort of played the angle that she didn't want anyone, especially her brother, to know about it, and that's why she bends over backwards to make sure sister-in-law is happy. I asked her if sister-in-law had ever threatened to reveal this incident, but she denies that it's even been brought up. She just thinks that if the wider family knew, it'd bring up a lot of weirdness. She swears that she has no interest in having any kind of relationship with sister-in-law, and that she's straight. I told her I didn't care about what she did that long ago, but that it needed to stop impacting our relationship in the present because I am the thinnest of thin hairs away from walking away forever. She, surprisingly, apologized again, and said that she'd really try to work on it. I told her that I needed to see some proof of that, so she can consider herself on probation. I told her that if I feel that it's happened again, I'll be taking our daughter to stay at my mum's. She accepted this, so we're proceeding cautiously. Sorry if this isn't the update you were all hoping for, but I think it's the best thing for the three of us right now.
My soon-to-be ex-husband cheated and left our family for another woman. He is now asking that we go to marriage counseling to save our marriage. Earlier this year my husband asked for a divorce. I was taken aback and blindsided by the news. My heart immediately sank as he said those words, and I thought he found out about my Reddit account. Since last year I have been on and off again talking with guys I have met, messages but mostly phone calls, on Reddit, and have occasionally swapped pics. I don't know why I did it. I guess I could say that I felt emotionally detached from my husband as he never made any effort to spend time with me and was looking for validation. It does not make what I did okay, and I regret it. My husband never wanted to talk to me and would rather play his Xbox all day than spend time with family. He's like a hermit and only played his dumb games, sometimes with friends, a lot of times without. I don't even keep in touch with any of the men and wouldn't even be able to tell you what we even talked about because all the calls honestly sucked. Edit. My ex-husband does not know I have done this, even now. He said that he thought he wanted this life but has been thinking about it for years, that he regrets our marriage, kids, and never really loved me. He said he was infatuated by my presence, but once it wore off, it was too late, and that I knew he never wanted kids, and flat out said I forced him to make kids with me. He is depressed and anxious all the time, and he knows that it is caused by me and the kids. I asked if he considered marriage counseling, and he said he wouldn't even consider it, but changed his mind the next day and said he would be open to going to one or two, but doesn't think it will change his mind because it's a fundamental difference between us. He hated that I wanted more to life and that he shouldn't have to change. He then threw in that he hated spending time with me and the kids, wished he never met me and would rather live alone forever. He believed that I pressured him to have kids and gave in because he thought he was in love. He then stated that he hated how insecure I was because I would always ask him to do things together and didn't understand why I couldn't just do it on my own. This news crushed my entire life, my entire existence, and years of relationship, marriage, family was trashed in that moment. I know what you're thinking. Karma is a beach, trust me. I know. Over the week I kept trying to have conversations to understand him and convince that we need outside help, but he was adamant that he was done. I was confused and was going through stages of grief and anger. One of the days that we had a conversation, I saw a message pop up on his phone that said I miss you, and for a guy that is a loner, it was weird to see it. I never go through anyone's phone, but something told me to open that message while he stepped away. I swiped through the messages and saw that he had been cheating on me with his co-worker. I was sickened because he was messaging her about how he wished he was with her every second of the day, how he missed her body, touch, smell, hair, etc. This had been going on for months. I was enraged, unrightfully so. I felt like the cheating he was committing was worse than what I had done because he was working with her every day and spending 8+ hours a day with her, 5 days a week, and my Reddit calls were nothing physical. I confronted him and asked him to leave, which he happily left. He said he was sorry he was caught but did not regret doing it because he never loved me. He was in love with the other woman. He left the home that same day and didn't contact me or the kids for weeks. Since separating, he's seen and talked to the kids a small handful of times but does not reach out to them unless I tell him something is happening. My ex is dating the woman he cheated on me with, and while I thought about throwing hands at her, she can have my loser ex-husband. We are in the divorce process right now and I am feeling better every day. I've moved on and have recently started seeing someone I hope things work out with. He is kind, ambitious, communicative, expressive with his emotions and wants, and beautiful. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes because it feels nice to have someone who wants to spend time with you and build up something potentially long-term. My soon-to-be ex-husband has recently expressed his remorse for cheating, the things he claims he said in the heat of the moment, apologizes for not being present in our marriage, etc. He states when he said he never wanted to get remarried that he meant that he wanted to work things out with me. He must think I'm dumb because that is not what that meant at all. He is still seeing the woman he cheated on me with because he knows I won't take him back, but is crying every time I see him how he wants to fight for our marriage and make things work, even though he's still seeing the other woman. I don't think it's worth the hassle of trying to make things work with a spouse who is still physically intimate with the person he cheated on me with as a backup plan. I also potentially have a soon-to-be serious partner that I can see myself building a future with, maybe have more kids. This became more of a vent sesh than a seeking advice post, but I am also to blame for the demise of my marriage.
Today I messed up by going on a date with my friend. I went on a date with one of my friends whom I'll call Sarah, not her real name, that I attend the same university with. I've always known that my friend has a thing for me, but I've always been reluctant to go on a date with her because I genuinely value our friendship and felt putting romance there would just mess things up. About a week ago, I was hanging out with Sarah and our other mutual friend as they listened to me complain about my unfortunate dating history. The mutual friend then put out the idea of a date between Sarah and I. He did this mainly to just make the room temporarily awkward, but it led to a conversation where I essentially asked Sarah for a date. For the days leading up to the date, Sarah and I became a lot more flirty, and I have to admit I was also excited for the date. 2 days ago, I picked Sarah up, and we went to a fairly fancy restaurant. When the waiter came, I ordered my food. She then ordered basically 3 separate meals, and I didn't know what to say or how to question why she ordered so much food. When I finished my food, she barely ate half of one plate, and she then said she wasn't actually hungry because she ate lunch right before she left her place. I asked her why then she ordered 3 meals, and she said one is for her mom's dinner since she's always wanted to try this restaurant out, and the other meal is for her to eat with her mom during dinner. I then told her that it's nice that she's getting dinner for her mom. It's cute that she would do that, to which she responded, "I should be thanking you since you're paying." I had told her I would pay for the date, but I definitely never agreed to paying for her mom and her dinner when we had only gone out for lunch. The meal was expensive, but I would have been fine paying for her if she actually ate all 3 meals. Instead, it all just felt wrong to me. The rest of the date was ruined for me, and I was checked out for the rest of the date. I was just going through the motions. After I left her at her place, I went radio silent on her as I was still annoyed by what she did. Today, I wanted to just tell her that I think it's better we go back to being friends, but as I opened our chat message I read a message she sent me shortly after our date. She basically was thanking me for the date and then went on to pour out her feelings for me and say that she has loved me for years and the date was like a dream come true for her. I had to drive over to her place to try as gently as possible that the feelings aren't mutual, which resulted in her crying and screaming at me as to why I was flirting with her before the date and why I even asked her out to the date. I feel horrible. Update. Firstly, I think I messed up in going on this date with her knowing that she had feelings for me and there's risk of losing a friend. When I asked her to the date I reasoned that she's attractive and even though I didn't like her in that way we technically should make a good couple so I was willing to give it a shot, which in hindsight, it was my mess up and I should have just stuck to my logic surrounding friends. Over the week the flirtation came naturally, and I was genuinely optimistic and excited for the date, and definitely didn't intend on leading her on. Secondly, I paid for her meals. For me the money wasn't the problem. It was the concept in itself that bothered me. I don't mind buying her things to take home, I have actually done it a few times before. But you don't do that on a date nor without asking at least prior to ordering. I didn't mention the food thing when we spoke. Honestly her reaction to me not reciprocating those feelings left me speechless and she kicked me out of her house when she was crying and shouting at me. She was also mad it took me 2 days to reply to her confession of love. Lastly, last night before I slept, I talked to our mutual friend who had helped in instigating this date and he was telling me that when he spoke to her she was a mess and talking about self-harm, which makes me feel so much worse. I wish this date had never happened. My partner suggested opening the relationship and I am devastated. My girlfriend and I are in our mid-30s, we are graduated academics, live in a house with a garden for rent, have a dog, are saving on possibly buying some property within the next half-decade if there ever pops up something affordable. We started out with a pretty active intimate life for the first year, then, dissertations, graduations, jobs and responsibilities and it gradually died down. I was the more active part, but the response got less and less, and trying to initiate only to get turned down in 95% of the cases became hurtful, so I initiated fewer and fewer times. I tried to talk about it, trying to formulate it in me messages and being understanding, but she does not really like to talk about it. She said she can't relax when there is a lot of things going on like recent job changes and moves and whatnot and that it is not me. So I am trying to give her time, not to pressure her, picked up self pleasure. We make love once every 2 to 3 months now and it is not as good in the sense that it was before. I guess people get out of touch when they get intimate too infrequently, and she does not like to experiment, but it is still beautiful, and intimate, and afterwards I'm always more happy for a few days, because I think she is beautiful, and I love her, I like feeling her skin and I like being intimate with her, and for her, I try to accept that her drive is way lower than mine. A few days ago we were out partying together, as we sometimes do, and while drunk, she opened to me that we should consider opening our relationship, that she loves me, that we are a great team but the intimate drive has died down, and while she wants to grow old with me, we could look for fulfilling our basal urges somewhere else. So it wasn't her lower drive, it was me, the mean little voice in my head telling me she does not think I'm attractive anymore each time I was being rejected was right. All along, she does not want to make love, she just wants to make love with other people and not me anymore. She apparently does not love me anymore to try out new things or ideas how we could rekindle it. Maybe she even has someone in mind, maybe she is already having an affair and wants to clear her conscience. How can I even trust her now? She goes to a training for 1 full month soon, so I will stay home, watch the dog and know that she is out there wanting to make love with other people. You see where this is going, my thoughts are spiraling. I am literally heartbroken and can't think of anything else. I told her we have to talk soon. There were a few things the last days because of which we did not have time to talk yet. But I can't go on like this. I mean, we haven't decided anything yet. Even if we decide not to open the relationship, how can I trust her now? I told her back then that I would try to let the thought linger for a bit before deciding, and try not to brush it off right away. But it is not lingering. It is festering like a tumor in my brain. I am having several panic attacks a day. I dread going to bed because I cry as soon as the lights go out, very quietly, while she is sleeping next to me. I don't want her to see that, because I am afraid that makes me even less attractive for her. I wake up panicking. I think about hurting myself. I am very close to a breakdown. And I am having a very important job interview today, the last one in a long row and I most probably get an offer today, a great and very exciting opportunity. I can't shift it, but I can't concentrate. Why does she have to drop that bomb on me? I would like to just run, but I can't. We have a rent contract that we are trapped in for the next 2.5 years. We have a dog. No one of us can afford the full rent alone or take care of the dog alone. My hurt is exploding. I am so sad. I think my girlfriend has been using my gym socks to wipe after going to the bathroom. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm dumbfounded. She just stormed out the house and I'm sitting on the bed asking myself a lot of questions. I live a pretty normal life, and I thought so did my girlfriend. We've been together for a few months and after things got serious we moved in together. We started sharing a lot of the household responsibilities, but the one thing she was adamant on doing was the laundry. She would come home and find me in the bedroom getting the laundry together and would quickly ask me to go do something else. I'd come back to finish the laundry and she would have already started it. I always thought it was sweet and never her job to do it alone. But hey, if it makes her happy to do it all the time, I wouldn't stop her. This is where it takes a turn for the weird. I keep all my socks and underwear in the bottom drawer of my dresser. I also go to the gym frequently, so I always keep a good supply of clean gym socks ready to go. I never kept count, but I know by just a visual glance I have several pairs. This morning when I went to grab a fresh pair to pack for the gym, I noticed there were several dress socks, but no gym socks. Again, not weird. They must have been in the laundry. I went to check the laundry basket and it was empty. So I checked the washing machine and dryer. Both were empty. I couldn't figure out where all of my gym socks had gone. So, I did the very natural thing of asking my girlfriend what had happened to them. After all, she is the one who does the laundry all the time. She went silent, turned red and ran out of the room. When I went after her to see if she was okay she wouldn't talk to me. I told her I wasn't mad. I was just looking for my socks. She kinda mumbled, "I don't know, I still wasn't mad, of course, but I was super confused. Socks just don't disappear. So I asked her again, even laughed about it, and she just looked at me and got mad and said, "I'll buy you new ones." The first thought that went through my head was she had somehow managed to destroy my socks while washing them. I thought the sight of that was actually pretty funny, so I joked with her about ruining my socks. Wrong thing to say. She started immediately crying, like full on sobbing. At this point I don't care about the socks anymore. I want to know what's wrong with my girlfriend. I sat down next to her on the bed and put my arm around her and asked her if she was okay. She just kept saying she was sorry and that she would buy me new socks. I tried assuring her again it was okay, even went so far as to say I would buy new socks and she didn't have to. I sat with her for a few minutes trying to calm her down and eventually had to get ready for work. I told her loved her and got my things together to leave for the day. On my way out I grabbed the garbage to take outside. When I got outside I lifted the lid off the garbage can and I noticed a small plastic bag sitting on top of the garbage already in there. I could see through the bag, kind of the semi-see-through ones. There were socks in the bag. Since I was sure she had somehow managed to ruin the socks washing them, I wanted to see for myself. I opened the bag and immediately regretted my choice. There, inside the bag, were several pairs of my gym socks covered in what looked like poop. As soon as the smell hit me I knew it was poop. 1. We don't own any pets. 2. We don't have any kids. 3. Whose poop was on my socks? Work could wait. I couldn't go the rest of the day wondering why my gym socks were covered in poop and inside a plastic bag in the garbage can. I grabbed the bag and walked back inside. As soon as my girlfriend saw the bag she flipped out and started yelling at me. She said I shouldn't be going through the garbage and that I was disgusting for bringing it back into the house. I asked her to calm down and that I just wanted an answer as to why there was poop on my socks. I wasn't blaming her of anything, but she started accusing me of blaming her. That's when it clicked. I don't know what it was that led me to ask this, but everything leading up to this moment had just been so crazy. I asked her, "Is this your poop?" She started sobbing again and ran out of the house. I didn't go after her this time. So, now I am sitting on my bed with a bag of poopy socks on the floor and a lot of questions in my head. The only conclusion is that she used them after going to the bathroom, which that alone has its own set of questions above everything else. I sent her a text asking her to come back. She hasn't responded yet. I don't even know what I'm going to say when, if, she gets back. Update. I had to leave for work and am now at work. Yes, I threw away the bag of socks. She texted me back and she's clearly embarrassed, but felt she owed me an explanation. She said she didn't want to talk about it in person and that we could discuss it over texting and to not bring it up in person. I'm condensing the conversation and filling in some gaps as best as I can. Her responses are super short, but I'm getting the idea. I flat out asked her if it was a fish. It is not a fish. She confessed to using the socks after going to the bathroom. I found the reason she always does the laundry is because she was hiding the fact that she uses socks to wipe with, primarily her own. I had no reason to question the amount of socks she ever has because who pays attention to that kind of thing? She thought I would notice and think it was weird since she doesn't own many socks. She admitted she has done this for a long time. Her reasoning, as best as I can understand, is that because she is a germaphobe, her word, and she is afraid toilet paper will tear and is afraid of getting her hands messy in any way. She uses socks because it covers her entire hand. After she's done with them, she throws them away. She used mine because she didn't have other socks. So, my girlfriend has a fear of getting poop on her hands, so she wipes with socks, and has done so for a long time. It could be worse, I guess. I hope we can laugh about this later. I'm trying to find the humor in it now, but I'm still weirded out.